I guess my concerns about the Olympics in Sochi are more focused on the impact it's going to have on the local population, some of the issues of corruption and abuse that I described, security threat, although I still think it's a question of possibility rather than a certainty or even a likelihood. And then there's another issue which I think has some resonance for us as Canadians, which is the way the games are being presented and the way they impact the indigenous people of the region, the Circassians. As I mentioned, Sochi itself is a Circassian word. There was a very violent struggle in the 19th century between the imperial government of Russia and the indigenous people, which resulted in the expulsion and death of many of them. Many of those people's descendants now live in the Middle East, Turkey, and places like Jordan and Syria. And the remaining community in Russia itself, I have visited there and talked to some representatives of that community, and they have expressed some grievances about the way the Olympics are being handled. For one thing, the lack of recognition of the mixed Russian Circassian character of this site. So one of the things I thought was very striking about the recent Vancouver Olympics was the very clear attempt to involve representatives of First Nations in the celebration, which was very striking at the opening ceremonies when representatives of First Nations actually welcomed the visitors to Vancouver. And certainly as North Americans, we have to be mindful of our own history of our difficult and at times very ugly history with the native peoples of this continent. So it's not a question of condemning Russia for something that is not unique to Russia. It's a question of whether Russia is really willing to recognize sort of the claims, the symbolic and historical claims of its indigenous peoples, including in this respect. There are further aspects of this problem. One is that a number of the winter sports sites are being constructed in areas that hold historic significance for the Circassian people. So, for example, the site of Krasnaya Polyana, which actually means red meadow, that term, the red, refers to the blood of people who were killed in a major battle there between the Russians and Circassians. And so many Circassians would say that this is not an appropriate or respectful use of an historic site. So the analogy that comes to mind would be, holding an Olympic event in Canada on the plains of Abraham. Right? It's just there's something disturbing.
Bad taste at the very least.
Yeah.